Last week, I got a whole bunch of responses when I posted the video this year. A lot of conversation it generated. I hope it was good. But I got one of the questions, one of many. It was certainly interesting. A lady has an issue. And she says she's married for, I don't know, a number of years, quite a few years. And she says, my husband doesn't love me and does not really care about me much. And I try to get him all the time to love me and care for me and whatever else. And it's not working. So I realized that the best thing to do is for me to give him an instruction manual, step by step, crystal clarity on how to care for me and what you can do for me, because he clearly doesn't get it and doesn't understand. So I'm going to help him and then he'll get it. So she says, I wrote him a manual. And I said, step one, there's this thing called mikveh night. And what you should do for me on that night is buy me a card. She says, I realize he's not going to buy a card. So I bought a card for him to give me. Make it easy for him. And then I wrote to him on a piece of paper what he should write to me. And I told him how to care for me and how to make me feel loved and cherished. So I gave him literally 10 steps of different things he could say. And if you do this, it'll be beautiful. Then I told him that you should also take me out. And I gave him 3 options of where he could take me out. And I got him the whole thing. So now he knows exactly what to do, when, how, and why. So I sat him down. I taught him the whole thing. He listened. He clearly understood. He got it. He showed me that he got it. And I was waiting anxiously and anticipating with a loving heart that moment when he would do all these things. She says, I'm not sure why, but when that night came along, he didn't do any of it. I got 0 out of 10. Nothing. I didn't get anything. And when I asked him why, I got an excuse. I was too busy at work. I'm sorry, I forgot. I wasn't able to. I wasn't this. Next time, Mirza Hashem. She says, you think next time it happened? It didn't. It never happened. He understood exactly what to do and nothing works. And she says, I don't know what to do. I'm at my wit's end. I'm going mishuga. I don't know if anyone else experienced that issue. But I'm going to take a long shot here and talk about how you get husbands to do whatever you want them to do. And the approach of getting bliss and happiness in marriage and living happily ever after, even within the confines of all the stresses that come in this world. And here's how. But we have to learn some Torah first. Because everything is in the Torah. And when we learn and understand and delve into the certainly in the Chumash and certainly in the Parsha of the week, it's very, very useful in aiding us in our lives and understanding what to do. So I want to take you on a story, an episode that transpires. I'm sure you're familiar with the story, but let's get the details of it so we can listen to the story in a whole new light and understand it in a different kind of a way. So the story goes like this. There's Ya'akov Avinu. Yaakov was away from home for 22 years, plus, if you add the 14, but a long, long time. Originally, Esav had wanted to kill him, that's why he fled, and Yaakov arrives at a place called, he was in Haran, and he came back home, and now he's coming back home. He's been super successful. After 22 years by Lavan, he has tremendous wealth. And now he has to meet Esav after all this time, right? For some odd reason, Yaakov was under the impression and hoping that Esav was ready to reconcile and to send him some love. And so he sends Esav a message, and he tells Esav, he says to him, listen, Yishlach Yaakov malachim lefonav. Yaakov sends him malachim, which Rashi says means angels, not messengers. And he says, go tell Esav, I lived with Lavan, in Lavan Garti, I kept Taryag mitzvahs. I'm here to tell you that I want to find favor in your eyes. Those words, to find favor in your eyes. I want us to make peace. I want us to live happily ever after, you and I. I get it. We fought. That was a long time ago. It was 36 years earlier. Get over it. It's okay. And let's make friends. So Yaakov is hoping and praying that Esav wants to make friends. What's the message they come back with? Esav is coming with, thank God for that Torah 613 song, right? That became famous. Esav was coming with 400 men, and they tell him he has absolutely no interest. Not only is he not interested, he's coming to kill you. He's still the same Esav, still wants to kill you. Everything is still there. So sorry. And marasov. Yaakov is petrified. Vayira vayetze. He was afraid, he was scared. And he divides his people into two camps. Camp number one, contrary to what you would think, it's not that he put the people in two different camps. Actually, he put people in one camp and animals in the other camp. Divides himself into two camps, and he goes out to meet Esav. He's preparing himself for to give a gift. He sent Esav gifts. He davened to Hashem, and he's ready for war. Goes out to greet Esav. Right before he meets Esav, there's the story of Yaakov wrestling the angel. Remember the story? What happened was there was a river to cross, Mavar Yabwik, a river, and Yaakov crosses the river. He brings his wives, and his children, and all the belongings across the river, and then Yaakov comes back to the other side of the river, and he finds himself alone at night, and there he wrestles the angel, having won in battle and defeating the angel overnight, except that he got his gidanosha, his thigh hurt. And then the next day, Yaakov meets Esav, and at this point, Esav reconciles. This story is the story of each one of us in our lives. It's a story of Yaakov is all of us. Esav is the brute force and difficult challenges and hardships that we encounter in life. The story of Yaakov and Esav is that Yaakov believes that the hardships are going to be solved on the outside. He believes something's going to happen outside that's going to solve the problem. Esav responds, I'm not ready to solve any problems. Yaakov realizes the only way to get this done is solving the problem on the inside. And the story of Yaakov and Esav is how Yaakov solves the problem on the inside. And then the key is how he does it is by crossing the river and wrestling the angel. And then he's able to face Esav, and Esav wins. Esav reconciles. So let's unpack this story. There's a lot of Kabbalistic ideas over here. And I think that when we understand the depth of the story, it's very, very powerful and relevant to us in our lives. So we have to go back all the way to the beginning of time. In the beginning of time, Adam and Chava inhabited this world. Adam and Eve were created by Hashem. And therefore, they were in the perfect state. The most perfect state any human being could ever be in was Adam and Chava before they ate the Eitz Hadas, the tree of knowledge. They dominated and controlled the world. Everything was under their control. So Adam was the king, and he controlled, no issues with anything. That means the animals, the animal kingdom, the vegetation, the world, everything succumbed to Adam. Now, is that true nowadays? Would you say that now, post the Chet Eitz Hadas, does mankind control the world? I mean, human beings definitely make zoos and slaughterhouses, and we eat animals, and we control all the animals. We do. We also control the world. We control the trees, and we make forests, and we decide where there's forests and where there aren't. And human beings decide how to make paper and to make houses and to make wooden tables. We make it all. We control the world. We control everything. But in actual fact, you may notice that we're totally out of control. The animals are so in control that if you put an animal in front of a human being, even if the animal's dead, the animal will control the human being. Try it out. Shecht an animal and put a piece of, make him into a steak and put the steak in front of you and take a look. Who's in control? You tell the steak, I'm eating what I want to eat and no more. You're in a restaurant, right? What do you see? That human beings are controlled by steaks. The steak talks to you. It says, here, eat me, spend more on me, devour me, and the animal controls us. How about your phone? Your phone is a tool. At least it's supposed to be. It's the greatest tool ever. Can you imagine how powerful you are if you control the phone? That means if you use the phone when you want to and for your benefit, what happens to us in life? Yeah, the phone uses us. And essentially, he starts becoming the ruler and he starts telling you what to do and he's the one in control. All that happened from Chet Eitz Hadas. Eitz Hadas means, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, it means when you got knowledge. Remember what that means? Not Chochmah and Bina. Adam and Chava had Chochmah and Bina before. They were well aware that they were not wearing any clothing. But they didn't attach any meaning to not wearing clothing. That's what Das means. Das is when you internalize it. So when Adam and Chava ate the Eitz Hadas, now it becomes relevant and meaningful to them. That's why a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old can walk around without any clothing and show the whole world, and it's very cute. If a 10-year-old does it, they probably need to be institutionalized. Because they know that they're not wearing clothing, they just don't have, there's no problem with it. Adam and Chava were like that before. The problem we face as human beings is called Das. We know too much and we get enmeshed with what we know. And because we know it, that's the problem. In other words, imagine how great married life would be if you didn't have crazy emotions going with it. Just be normal. 2 people get together, they live together, don't cheat on each other, be nice to each other, all good. For some reason, it's the hardest thing in the world for us humans to do. We just don't know how to do it. You can't just be normal. You could be living a life and your life could be wonderful. You could be, have all the money in the world. You could go on vacations and get whatever you want. All the wonderful, wonderful things. Have all the money, everything that money can buy. And yet you're feeling depressed. Why are you feeling depressed? Das. Not the Chochmah and Bina, it's the Das. It's the meaning you associate with whatever goes on in life. And because of that Das, we humans are forever stuck. It's harsh. It's so hard to accept. But we were forever stuck, literally, because we enmesh ourselves with whatever happens around us. It's like what goes on in the world, right? I love it when people say, in the 1930s, people didn't know what was going on. So it was terrible, right? They literally, because they didn't know what was going on, so what? So now we have to know what's going on, so we have to be aware. We have so much information about what's going on that every single anxiety that happens out there is ours. Mind-boggling. That's all because of Das. We associate meaning with everything, and that makes our lives miserable. Shufrei de Yaakov me'in Shufrei de Adam Arishon, the Zohar says. Yaakov is the image of Adam. Yaakov came into this world to reenact, redo, fix up what Adam had messed up on. So Yaakov came back here and he's like, okay. He looks at the world and he realizes the issue. Because we've already had the Eitz Hadas, we have that Das, so therefore we have a problem. We cannot be spiritual beings. You want to be a spiritual being, you'd love to be a spiritual being, but you can't. Yaakov would have loved to be able to just learn Torah day and night. Don't bother me. He tried it for many, many, many years. That's what he did. He got married, mind you, at 77 years old. Okay, they lived longer in those days. That's how old he was when he got married the first time. I'm sorry, he was 84 actually. He was 77 years old when he went out to find the wife. Took him 7 more years to find them. Okay, he was working for 7 years. So, he was very holy. But Yaakov realizes holiness is one great thing, but you can't be holy in this world without engaging the world. I need to eat, I need to make money, I need to get married, I need to have kids, and I need to, all the issues that come with that. That's what Yaakov realizes. I have no choice but to do. He goes and does it. When Yaakov comes back to Esav, the story of Yaakov and Esav is a human being comes out and he realizes, I'm a holy guy, I'm spiritual, but I have no choice but to engage the physical and the material world around me. So Yaakov looks around and he says, I have no choice but to meet Esav and deal with Esav. But here's how we operate. We believe that's our default setting, that all the problems are going to be solved on the outside. Which means it's a built-in thing. It's pretty good probably, right? They say that nobody would get married if they realized what marriage really was about. You know how you married like 30 years and you're like, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have married you. Or I wouldn't have gone into this. Or you would never do whatever you knew if you knew how bad it was going to be. The Maila Hashem does is he doesn't let us know what's going to be, so we don't know. So therefore it's just, we go in like little children not knowing. So Yaakov looks at Esav and he says, I'm hoping that you fixed yourself up. Esav represents the materialistic, brute force of the physical world. Esav is material, Yaakov is spiritual. And they're very different. So Yaakov is doing his work in with Hashem, and he's building a family, he's doing wonderful things. Esav is the powerful forces that are out there in the world. And we naively believe that everything's going to be okay. It's so naive. It's so childish, but we literally believe it. So we believe that, when you're a little girl, you're dreaming about one day I'm going to be married. And you're dreaming about the knight in shining armor who will take you away. And that's what little girls believe. And then when they get to the shidduch stage, they're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to find the shidduch and it's going to be great. There's a basic belief, we hope. When it's not there, it's problematic. There's a basic belief that it's going to be good. And then you get married, and she believes that the guy is going to be super sweet and super nice, and it's just going to work out. There's a basic belief of that. Because when you get married at the beginning, it's all super sweet. So you believe the sweetness is going to carry through. We always want that the problem should be solved on the outside. Now, you know that things get messed up. You're very well aware. It's sometimes very scary. But the basic belief is that Esav, even so, is going to be nice and sweet. And so Yaakov says, I'm going to send you these gifts. You believe, I love talking to, I had a chat last night with a 22-year-old guy. And it's so sweet. He is going to be a billionaire. He's working in this thing and whatever. And, and hopefully he will. I really hope he will. He just doesn't realize that in life, like one little thing goes wrong and there go your billions. Maybe you'll be a billionaire. More likely than not, if you want to be one, that's true. But I see many people who want to be billionaires and didn't get anywhere near that. And the old dream, what you want, or whatever, I was like showing him how you should kill your dream. It's not going to happen. He says, what? I said, yeah, if you kill your dream, then it's going to happen. If you're dying to get it, it's not going to happen to you. Because what you're dying to get doesn't happen. It's like let go in life. Yaakov wants Esav to play ball. Esav comes back and he says, no. And this is when the tragedy of the realization of how difficult life is comes about. Shidduchim are not always so easy. If they were easy, don't worry. Next problem is coming your way. And then having shalom bayis ain't no easy. Raising kids, not easy. Making money, not easy. And if something's easy, don't worry. Just wait a couple days and you'll get the difficult one. The challenge is coming your way. It's going to be hard. And Yaakov realizes that I have to do the work myself. That's the key. The story is a story of realizing that problems are never solved by Esav. Yaakov's problems cannot be solved on the outside by Esav. The only way for Yaakov to solve his problems is if he does the work himself. So he was hoping Esau would just say yes. Instead, the work of what Yaakov was doing was actually changing himself so that he's going to be ready to face Esau. And the reason why it worked at the end and why Esau makes peace with Yaakov is because it wasn't the same Yaakov. Because Yaakov changed himself, and that's why it worked. In other words, you want to have shalom bayis? Don't change your spouse. Change you. You want to have good kids? Don't change your kids. Change you. You want to be a billionaire? Don't change the world. Change you. In every case, the story is a story of how you change you. But in the interim, something else, another little detail in the story. Esau is coming with 400 men. Now, these 400 men are a very important key to the story. So, what does 400 men mean? First of all, why are there 400? Why not 100, 200, any other number? What's the number 400? In Torah, everything's exact. There's something unique about the number 400. So, Kabbalistically, what it says is that the number, ready for some mysticism over here, the number 400 appears somewhere else in the Torah. A few weeks ago. Remember? What happened with 400? Avraham Avinu bought the Ma'aras HaMachpelah, Hebron. So Ephraim Achiti sold it to him, and he paid him 400 shekel kesef, 400 silver coins. So the Zohar associates the 400 shekel kesef with the 400 men. Why was Esau able to come with 400 men? Because Avraham deposited 400 silver coins with Ephraim. Thereby, he gave Ephraim power that Ephraim should not have had. But we won't go into why Avraham did it, but he had to do it. But that gave the klippa, the negative forces out there, the power. This world has in it, there's a force that controls this world. It controls your life. It controls everything that goes on in the world. It's a deep force behind the world. And that force is called pleasure. People do everything in their lives because of pleasure. You're looking for pleasure, so whatever you do, you're looking for pleasure. If you wake up in the morning and you go to work, the reason why you went to work was because you wanted to feel some pleasure. When you stay away from something, it's pleasure pain. That's going to cause me pain, which is the opposite of pleasure, so I run away from it. We gravitate all the time towards pleasurable experiences. That's what we want. Pleasure is the king that controls us. Even if you say, I'm going to work. Why am I going to work? It doesn't cause me pleasure. Okay, so why are you going to work? Because I want to make money. Why do you want to make money? I need to have a house. And if you don't have a house, what's going to happen? It's always going to come back to, I gravitate to what causes me pleasure. And there's something else in pleasure, desire. Pleasure is the internal experience of desire. Pleasure is the pnimius, and desire is called the chitzonius. Pleasure is inside everything. That causes us to have desire. People do everything not because of intellect or emotions, but because of pleasure and desire. Kabbalistically, pleasure and desire are called keser. Why is it a keser? What does keser mean? Crown. It's your king. You put it on top of you and it's a crown. Keser also means round. Ktar. Right? Lachtir. So keter is to surround. This force surrounds you and envelops you totally. Now, because there's the word, Kabbalistically, this is the idea, the word keser is, right, chaf, keser. So there's two things that control you, your pleasure and your desire. So each one is the chaf. Chaf is the 20 and 20. Keser, chaf, is a number, the numerical value of 20. So 20 and 20, and each one of them has intellect and emotions. But I'm not going to go into all that. Point is that the 400 men is a force in this world that controls the world. It makes everything tick. It is that this physical world is extremely powerful. It's very, very, very powerful. And the reason is because it contains in it extreme pleasure. To make money, it's not about the money. It's about, there's like a force of power and a force of feeling control. So people want it. Marriage is exactly the same thing. It's a force of security. It's all about this extreme pleasure that's out there. So the physical world controls everything because it has the 400 shekel kesef. Kesef means silver, but kesef also means lichsof, a yearning. People don't want money, they yearn for money. People don't want a relationship, they yearn for relationships. So get it right that Esav has 400 men. Esav is the physical world, and he's very, very, very powerful. That's why human beings, when they give you a phone, you can't get off it sometimes. It's because of the 400 men that are with Esav. It's this powerful force of pleasure and desire that's in it that you can't get away from. The word 400 is gematria of the same word as sak. Sak. Interesting, because the Hebrew word of sak and the English word is the same word, sak. In davening every morning we say the capital Tehillim, Pitachta saki vatazreini simcha. Hashem, open up my sack. What you want to wear as clothing is regular clothing with normal, right, good feelings on it. You want to wear clothing. Sack is uncomfortable clothing. All of us are wearing uncomfortable clothing in this world. It's not your real clothing. The Torah chigeres sak. The Torah is wearing sackcloth. And what that means is that in life, we experience, we have no choice. We feel and experience the physical world, and the physical world takes us over and controls us. And it's not the normal clothing you're supposed to be wearing. It is sak. Sak, 300 and 100. Some sin and kuf is 400. So what happens to us in life is we are controlled by the physical world. Yaakov and Esav meeting is the meeting of your spiritual being meeting the physical world out there. Yaakov realizes you cannot not engage the physical world. You have no choice. You can't not have a phone if you live in 2024, 5, whatever we are now. You can't not have a phone. You can't not need money and marriage and children and all the wackiness that comes with it. But Yaakov says to Esav, I wish you would solve the problem. And in a marriage, a wife will always tell her husband, it's because of you. I was talking to a lady this other day. So she told me like this. She says, my husband is an absolute baby. She says, he's a grown man, but he's a total baby. Like he needs his mother for everything. She has to approve whatever happens in life. Mommy has to approve. If mommy doesn't approve it, it doesn't happen. Like a pacifier in him. And it's tied to mommy's, still he didn't cut the umbilical cord. She says, and mommy, she can't be a man. Can't work, can't make money. And I'm the one making the money. I'm doing everything. I'm done with him. I said, so you're getting divorced? She says, no chance. Why? I can't be divorced. Like, oh. That's interesting. But so what do you want from him? She says, I'm angry at him. I want him just to be normal. I want him to change. I want some normality from this Meshugana. That's Yaakov saying, please, Esav, are you ready? There's so much there. What are you getting angry about? Because I need a husband. She says, I need the guy. I need him. But I can't take it. The key in all this is a very difficult, very hard reality. But here's, I'm going to be the first to say that this is very easy to say. We're going to learn about it, and you say, no, it's very easy to say, and yeah, solve the problem, and we get a shear, and you get a yashakoyach, we're giving a shear, and it's very nice, until you have to actually try it out in real life. In real life, this is very, very challenging. But the work is, I need to change myself. By the way, I'm picking on ladies. This applies the same to men. I'm just saying. I'm just talking about ladies because that's the reality of it. But it applies the same both ways. You want to change the other person, you'll never be able to change the other person. You want to change them, change yourself. The only way to do it is by changing yourself. In Yaakov's case, what did he do? Yaakov says, okay, I'm going to make myself into an Esav mode of operating. That's why I divided the camps into two. See, Yaakov likes to operate in three. That's why we called Am Skula. Skula is a segel, right? 3 dots. Esav is very intense. That's like a tzeiret. It's like no cooperation. So there's no work together. Yaakov divides into 2 camps. He says, what I was hoping was, I'm a good guy, I find the good shidduch, and we live a good life. See the segel? I'm a good guy, I have bitachon, I daven to Hashem, that I should make money. Hashem helps me, I make the money, I give tzedakah, I do good things, everything's wonderful. That's how Yaakov loves to operate. But Esav says to him, I'm not playing ball with you. So Yaakov realized I have to operate in 2. It means I have to take whatever you want to do, and I have to do your work and do it also that way. In other words, if you want your husband to love you, the way to do it is by doing the work that he's supposed to be doing yourself. And that doesn't mean writing him a note of how to do all the work and telling him all the work of what he should do. Because I was just thinking about it, when she told her husband exactly how to love her and how to show her cherishing and appreciation. You know what I think he saw? He felt treated like a baby. He felt her completely knocking out his entire being. And so it was like, I don't need that. I don't need a mother. And thank you very much, but no thanks. It doesn't make me feel good. But what if she would try a different approach? What if she would try an approach of deciding that I'm going to change myself. And if I change myself, the reality outside will be changed. The world will always mirror you. Whatever you are, that's what the world will respond to. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you decide that you're a loser, then you're right. You are. If you decide that your husband is narcissistic and a baby and whatever else he is, you're absolutely going to see it all over. But he is, right? The reality is that he is that. That's Yaakov's problem. Like, what do you want me to do? He is that. So the question is, how do I change that reality? So let's understand what Yaakov does. Yaakov, he crosses this river, and that crossing of the river is the key to understand how Yaakov operates. Something has to change in my psyche and my approach to the world in order for me to be able to change the world outside of me. And then the world will mirror me. This is not easy to do. So let's get where we want to get to and then see how we get there. The work is in a marriage. It's not working. Decide that it is. But it's not. Change the reality by changing right now. So I was telling this lady, I said, what do you want to do? You want to feel cherished? Right? You want to feel loved and cared for? Are you ever cherished? Are you ever loved and cared for? Is there anything in your life right now that you could find that feeling that you're looking for to say, I already have it now? She says, no, there's nothing going on in my life that's of any good. And I'm like, really? Is that accurate? Is that factual? And we started to think about it and to work together, and we discovered that, her kids make her feel good, and she teaches, her students make her feel good, a lot of different things, and she feels very, very cherished. And, mind you, he did do something for me. Yeah, I remember 3 weeks ago on Monday, he did something special for me. It's hard to come up with these things, but she came up with a bunch of things that she did. And I said, start to write them down. And this thing that you want to get to, which is feeling cherished and feeling good about yourself, you already have it. Why must we talk always in a negative language? Do you notice how we like to be negative about the way we talk? Everything the way we speak is always like, hey, you never take me out. If you say to your husband, you never take me out, you know what's going to happen? He'll never take you out because you just said that's what happens. He never takes you out. So how can you say you never take me out in a different way? Is there another way to say it?
I love when you take me out. I love when you take me out.
Because if you never take me out, it means I want to go out, right? But if you say you never take me out, I get a bad energy. If you say I love when you take me out, so it very much depends on the energy that you're expressing at the same time. Because you could say you never take me out, and you could say I love when you take me out, and it'll be the same energy. You'll get the same results. It won't work. What works about I love when you take me out is if the energy is I love when you take me out. So it's not what you say, it's that you align yourself behind the energy in those words. So, sit back and you enjoy yourself in life. Not at a tense moment when you're fighting. You're at a fight and I love when you take me out. That is like saying you never take me out. Let's just express it once in a while. Oh, when you take me out, I love it. Feels so good. It makes me feel just special. It's not what you say, it's sending him that energy. And it's telling him, I'm not asking you to take me out. Because that's knocking him down. Make him feel special, make him feel good, and tell him the things you like. If a wife makes her husband feel respected and special, and that he's something special about him, even if there isn't. But there's something good about him. There has to be. If she makes him feel that you're a special guy, and I send that energy over, and then I send you this energy that says, you know what? I love going out with you. If he sends that energy, he'll be drawn towards that. And if he's drawn towards that, he'll find the time and the opportunity at some point, I don't know when, but if he knows 5 things you love, rest assured at some point with Hashem's help, he'll go that direction. He'll want to give you those things. And you say, but what if not? You have to get yourself to a space that you don't need those things. Because if you're sitting over there saying, I love when you take me out, okay, when are you taking me out already? When are you taking me out? When are you taking me out already? There's so much pressure in that he can't do it anymore. So like, the woman has to do all the work. It's not fair. It isn't fair. Who said it's fair? Yaakov's actually upset. Why do I have to do all this work? But whenever you want to get something to happen, you'll never get it by getting the other person to do it. It's always about me and my work, my internal work. What that requires is us crossing the river. You know what the river is? Again, Kabbalistically. When Hashem created the world, there was a river. It says there was Eden. In the Pasuk in Bereshit, there was Eden, and then there was a river, and after the river comes Gan Eden. V'nahar yotze me'eden le'ashkot et hagan. That means everything in the world is beautiful. It's Eden. And then there's this river. The river's like the explanation, right? It's how things come down into the way we see them. And our goal is always to cross over the river into a space of stop understanding and knowing things. Go into the space where Adam Harishon was before the Chet Eitz HaDas. Stop having das so much. Let go of everything. Let go of all your dreams. Let go of everything. It's a space where, hey, Hashem created me. Hashem instilled himself into me. So I have a piece of God inside me. Mind you, so does that lowlife called my husband. And he also has a part of God in him. And Hashem decided that these two beings are going to become one entity. So what I'm looking for is Hashem in this relationship. And when I get that, there was no mistake in your marriage. There was no mistake in your life. Nothing is a mistake. Everything is perfection. And even if you messed up, Even if you're in a second marriage and you got messed up the first time and it's now this one, this too is Basher. Hashem wanted that to happen. So wherever you are in your life right now is a space of goodness and happiness and greatness. See what it means to cross the river? We live on this side of the river. So on this side of the river, it's like, oh, there's so much pain. The other side of the river, that's what Jews are known by, right? Avraham was ha'ivri. On the other side of the Nor. Be'ever hanahar. We live on the other side of the river. We live in a space where Hashem is just always with us. You say, but you said it's good if you were married, it's good if you're not. It's good, whatever. It's just great in this exact space that I'm at now. And what you want is to be able to flip that. I saw a beautiful letter of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And he writes to someone, he says, I spoke about this last night. He says, and I want to tell you what I spoke about. And you see the Sikha and the letter go together. It was the 17th of Cheshvan, 1958, I guess, Tafshin Yutes. So he says like this, he says, Avraham Avinu, he says, you tell me your life is hard. You tell me things are challenging. And I get it. I get that it's hard. But listen to what Avraham Avinu did. Avraham Avinu lived a very hard life. Because it says he lived in the land of Plishtim Yamim Rabim. Yamim Rabim means many, many days. When something is easy, it's like Yamim Achadim. It's like nothing. Time flies. Time was just taking forever. Because he was in Golus, he was in exile. So he didn't want to be there. And every neshama doesn't want to be where it is. We all are in a place and we're like, get me out of this. What did he do in this place? Vayita Eishel. He put up an Eishel. What's an Eishel? Eishel means he put up a space he fed everyone who came by. He invited guests. He put up a tent. And he fed them everything. And then he planted an orchard. He gave them fruits. He gave them everything they wanted. And then he made a Sanhedrin. And it's all true. He gave them spirituality also. He spread Hashem. He says, whatever situation I'm in, it's me bringing Hashem to this position over here. And as a result, hard as it was and difficult as it was, Hashem gave him the greatest nisayon. And that was the Akedah, where he was able to give himself over to Hashem completely and utterly. And as a result of that, he became Avram Avinu. And every one of us is in that same exact position. It means that we want to get to a space of being like Avraham Ha'ivri, going to the other side of the river and realizing that I know I had dreams. I know I wanted that Esav should solve my problems. I know I wanted that life should be good. I know I wanted that the perfect man should come to my life. I know I wanted I should have all the money. I know I wanted all that. Yes, 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 and yes. And I get that I don't have a choice. I need the physicality. But here's the story. If you want the other person to change, good luck. It's not happening. If you want to get something on the outside and thereby become happy, it's not going to happen. What I need to do is cross the river myself. Make a decision myself. By the way, you probably need a mashpia in real life coaching, because when in the actual issue each person is dealing with, it's sometimes very difficult to see it because, we're stuck in our own ways and we don't see the other part of it. In a marriage, it's very hard. Not easy at all. But if I can look at it, because everyone's going to say, yeah, you didn't get this point about my husband. One little detail you didn't get. And that's what makes him, he's really a low life. He's really impossible. But Avraham Avinu went to the other side of the river. And Yaakov, when he wanted to face Esav, goes to the other side of the river. And what does that mean? It's like this. If I feel that I want to be cherished and I want to be loved, I have to realize Hashem is the one who cherishes me and loves me. And actually, the people around me who Hashem put in my life are giving me all the things from Hashem. Because it's not them. It's not my husband. It's not my kids. It's no one. It's all conversations with Hashem. And what do I want? It's not about you denying what you want. You want to feel cherished? Start noticing how you feel the cherishment already. Start noticing how good it is already. And you'll say, but it's 99.9% terrible. Yes, but there's 0.1 good. There always is. You'll always find something. When you live in that space and you change it's a shift in thinking. It's a change in the whole thinking. So Yaakov says, I'm going to do the work of Esav. The work of Esav is I'm going to divide myself into two camps. Sometimes you have to do some Esav stuff. Like not telling the full truth or what you think is not the full truth. It's like you're saying to yourself, so you feel cherished? Do you feel cherished? No, I don't. Do some Esav work. Liar that he is. Cheat. Right? Lie to yourself a little bit. Because your mind can change your reality. It's not really a lie. Deep down, that's what you really are. But you might need to do some of the Esav work. So Yaakov does the work. And Yaakov goes into the space and he says, okay, I get it. Esav's got this 400 men, powerful, what he is. But you know something? Like, I feel good. And you don't have to say it in a negative way. The same things that could be said in negative can be said in positive. Guarantee you. Anyone, certainly any wife who wants her husband to get away, wants to get what she wants, two things you got to do. Number one, make him feel like a man. Give him respect. To feel like a man. To feel that I trust you. And number two, give him this opportunity of making you happy. But give it to him. It means actually put it in his hands. And show him that this makes you happy. How? By already feeling the happiness. You don't need to go out to get excited about how good it is to go out. Right? You can actually sit there and just say, feeling like we're going out. Wow, I'm already feeling, a guy was describing to me what it's like to drive to upstate. He says you drive the whole way through and then you're in traffic, crazy. And then you cross that George Washington Bridge. And as you cross it, suddenly there's trees. Nowadays there's traffic there already. Also there too. But he says, you just feel like, I'm open. And it was interesting because he was sitting here in Brooklyn describing it to me. And as he was describing it to me, I'm like, I felt the energy. He was just describing the bliss of that. I'm like, wow, you don't have to live in the country to live in the country. You can actually live right where you are, and your mind will tell you live in the country. That's what makes it work. When your marriage needs the other guy to respond to make you feel good, it's not going to feel good. But if you decide, instead of saying, please take me out, and spelling it out, give the feeling of how good it is to be taken out, how lovely it feels, how awesome, how wonderful, how special. And that energy draws him in and makes him want to come to you. And then when he does take you out, it's like, got it. There it is. There's the thing. And you'll start seeing it again and again and again. Because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you see the good, the more good you get. And the more you don't, the more of that you get. Tracht gut, wird sein gut. So live in that good space, even if it's not. And so Yaakov has to change it over. And Yaakov does his own energy and his own thing. And when he does, he meets Esav, he meets the world. That's like the wife who gets taken out. And suddenly it's there. And what happens to Esav? This wicked, vile, disgusting piece of whatever he was, Esav, he hugs Yaakov and he kisses him, and he fell on him and he says, I'm sorry. And Yaakov gets what he wanted. And he's still wary of him. He says, you might want to kill me still, I get it. But I got what I wanted out of the world. The world is looking to please you. Everyone around is looking to give you good. Because Hashem is good and there's only good taking place in your life at any given moment. And the way to access that good is by living in the good space ourselves. That's the hard work of Yaakov. When he does the work, the world responds.